Okay, thanks for joining us today. So we're kind of starting something new coming out of 2021 and coming into 2022. So when really significant things happen or we have a big learning that we feel we need to pass along to our clients, we're going to have these, what I'm going to call quick learning moments, and they'll be 15 to 30-minute quick webinars that we invite all our clients to. You can spread the word around, send the email to someone else that might be interested in listening. And we're going to take pieces of information like changes in legislation or big learnings that we've had through our journey. So recently, one of the learnings that we've had is we have one client that's implementing a mandatory vaccine policy. And so there's been lots of really great learning from that. So today, what we're talking about is Alberta grants. So I'm going to do a quick presentation for you. And I just put this together this morning with the help of Karen. And so thanks, Karen. Karen, for those of you. Karen Stocky is our HR specialist. So a little bit about Synergy. Most of you know us or engage with us in some way. So we offer fractional and on-demand HR solutions for your company. We are not niche market because I believe that HR belongs in all sorts of businesses, and the application is quite similar across all paradigms. So a lot of you have a monthly retainer with us, and some of you don't. Some of you just, like to call us when there's an emergency, and we're happy to provide support. So we have the 4 pillars of offerings. One is the HR services, which most of you are involved in, training and development, which some of you haven't had an opportunity to take advantage of yet, but 2022 is going to be a big training year for us. We also have recruitment, and we have safety. And so I want to thank everybody that's on the call for joining us, and people are still trickling in. So, and this will be recorded, so if you miss anything, not to worry. So why are we here today? Like I said, we're implementing this quick learning sort of webinar. There'll be ad hoc, there's no schedule to it, but if something happens and we feel like we need to dig in and give you some information, we're going to. On that note, you guys will all have access to the chat function in your Zoom call. If there is any particular topic that you would like more information on and you feel would be a good topic for a quick learning exercise, just pop it in the chat. We'll copy the chat, and then we'll develop a series coming into the new year to sort of address that low-hanging fruit. So today we're here to do the quick learning. We're going to give you some brief information on 2 grant opportunities that we feel strongly you should be taking advantage of. We're going to develop some key takeaway questions. So hopefully, at the end of this quick learning, you guys will have some questions. We'll have some takeaways, and then we'll answer your questions by email or by phone. And then the fourth reason why we're here is to offer you some support when it comes to these granting opportunities. So we've had our own experiences with it, which I'll share with you. And we've learned a lot, and I've made some mistakes, and I've had some big wins. So pretty excited about what this means for us and for you. So the first granting opportunity is the Canada-Alberta Job Grant. So this granting opportunity, although I think the title is totally misleading, it provides funding for training initiatives. So it doesn't provide funding for new hires. It provides funding for training. And so there's some very special nuances about this one. This is not a super easy grant to apply for. And if you don't jump through the hoops that they set up on a timely basis, your grant will be thrown out. So it's some sticky spots here. So this is a federally funded and provincially administered program. That's why it's called the Canada-Alberta Job Grant. So when you pop onto the website, you see the federal government logo right beside the Alberta government logo. It's because the money comes from the federal government to Alberta, and then they administer it in Alberta. You apply through the LBR grant portal as a business. You need a My Alberta ID for business in order to apply for this grant. So the ID you get to get your vaccine record, you need that, except there's one for businesses. So you can Google My Alberta ID for business, set up a My Alberta ID for business account, and that's the address, the user ID, and the password you use to apply for this grant. You need to apply for this grant before you start any training. So right now is a great time. You're going to be over the holidays. You might be sipping a beer or having a glass of wine and putting together sort of a training budget for your staff for the new year. So when you identify that training, you can give us a call at the beginning of the new year and we'll help you put together your grant application. Once the courses are all completed, you have to submit proof of completion. So there has to be some sort of certificate at the end. My experience is you submit the grant, you get it approved, you take the training, and then you wait forever to get your payment. So this isn't a quick exercise. The government loves to drag their heels when it comes to actually administering the payment to you. So my experience here is I actually took a program September, November, submitted all my certifications for completion, and I called the LBR portal the other day, the 1-800 number, and they said to check back in February to find out when I'm going to get paid. So there's a huge lag between the time that you've paid for the training and the time that you actually receive reimbursement for it. And you do have to pay for it up front. So some particulars about this grant program. This funding is to help employees and unemployed Albertans access training opportunities. So if you know of somebody that's unemployed and you want to bring them into your workplace, you can apply for the grant on their behalf. Up to 60% of your training costs are covered to a maximum of $10,000 per trainee per fiscal year. Okay, so for example, I'm taking a master's certificate in workplace innovation. There's 3 courses I have to take, and each course is probably about $5,000. So I submitted the grant application for the first 2 courses and have them approved, and I'm getting a reimbursement of, I think, $6,600 towards my master's certificate, which is a huge amount of money. I'll submit an application for the 3rd course, which will complete the program, and I'll get 60% funding for that as well. So I can take a $15,000 program and get reimbursed 60%. So I'm going to end up with 10,000 of that paid, which is super cool. So you can get up to 100% of your training costs paid for if you're hiring an unemployed Albertan. So if you want to hire a salesperson, for instance, and then put them through sales training before you bring them on board, you can get 100% of that cost paid for. And, for anybody that's looking for sales, a really great program is Kim Orlesky's program through KO Advantage. So her program should be eligible for the grant. Special conditions for this particular granting program is you have to have 21 instructional hours or longer per trainee per application. Okay, so what that means is you can take a whole bunch of training and package it for the grant, but the grant application has to accumulate to 21 hours. You also have to start the training within 6 months after having received the grant approval. So this was extended to 9 months during COVID. I'm not going to rely on that 9-month window because I feel like the government's sort of pulling the plug on a lot of these COVID programs and they're going to go away. So if we stick to the 6-month rule, you should be safe. Training must be completed within a year. So you can start it within 6 months, complete it within a year of the start date. And there must be some sort of credential attached to it, a certificate. So when we run our Leadership Excellence program, we offer a certificate in Leadership Excellence. So graduates actually get a certificate that they can submit that recognizes completion. There's some ways that this program can go sideways. So one of my experiences was a couple of years ago, we submitted the grant. It was a very large grant, about $60,000 for 6 employees in Alberta here. And what I didn't realize is that the employees were going to get an email that said, are you attending this program? And if they didn't respond within 5 days, the entire grant was not approved. So we had 2 of the 5 employees say, yes, I'm attending that training. 3 employees didn't respond to their email at all and didn't check their email. All 5 employees lost the grant, so $60,000 was taken off the table, which is pretty sad. But so this particular grant is meant to challenge you from an administrative perspective. It's not an easy grant to apply for. We've had to put special training curriculums together for this. More than happy to do that if it helps you recoup some costs. The second, so one thing I want to talk about is how Synergy used the training grant opportunity. So currently, thanks to one of our clients who said, hey, can we run your purpose, vision, values exercise through the Alberta Learning Grant portal? I said, well, let's give it a shot. So we actually built a curriculum, and we called it the Strategic Leadership Development Curriculum, that includes the development of purpose, vision, value statements for your company with the support of your key leadership team. And we've actually been able to submit that and successfully receive the grant for it. So if you have to do any purpose, vision, values work or core leadership competency development in the new year, give us a call, because we can run that program for you and submit the grant application for the Alberta Learning Grant, because we built it so that it's grant eligible. So the really cool thing is you get a purpose, really solid purpose statement, really solid vision statement, and really solid set of core company values as an outcome of running this training program for your senior leadership. So if that's intriguing to you, give us a call. We'll talk to you about it. We've helped our valued clients apply for the grant, so we can actually go in to your portal. You have to set up the portal. We can actually go in and manage your whole grant application process for you, and it's about 1 to 2 hours of work, so $150 to $300, and we can get this done for you. We've also worked hard to package our training offerings to encompass the 21-hour requirement. So we can take a couple of our training modules and package them together to meet that 21-hour threshold, so that you're actually driving some excellent training to your staff. We're looking at putting together a curriculum that includes the 1 hour lunch and learn. So some of you in your retainers have 1 hour a month set aside for the lunch and learns, and we're looking at packaging that into the Alberta Learning Grant. So you can get a small grant back as part of your retainer. So this is just a glimmer of hope here for us. But how would it be if we were able to get you, like, say, $500 a month grant towards your retainer? So that's a super cool opportunity for us. If we can do that, then that's great. Our personal use of the program. So they changed the program during COVID to allow business owners in small businesses to access the grant. So I'm actually getting my master's certificate covered by the grant. We also have one individual or organization that's pursuing her master's certificate in equity, diversity, and inclusion through Cornell University. So she's accessed the grant. We've had great success at applying for the grant, but also we've had some really tricky moments, like the grant that we lost for one of our clients. So the second grant I want to talk about is the Alberta Jobs Now grant program. This is the new program that subsidizes wages for new employees into new or vacant positions. Anybody that is looking at recruiting in the new year should be applying for this grant as soon as possible. Okay, so I just went into the portal the other day and I applied for 8 positions for Synergy. You know, truth is, I don't know if I'm going to fill 8 positions. We've got some tremendous growth on the horizon, so we could, who knows? But the reality of it is that the money's out there. You should apply for it. And it's an interesting grant because it's super easy to apply for, super easy to get approved for the grant. The tricky part is filling the positions in the timeline. So this is provincially funded. And this is the crazy thing about this. You apply through your My Alberta ID, not the business one, the personal one. It's a very simple application process, but it's very strange that you have to go through your personal My Alberta ID. So this is where you would have gotten your vaccine records from. You have to apply before or after you fill the role, provided it's within a time frame. So if you filled a position in the last month, you might be eligible for the grant here. Okay, so Charlie, I know you're on the call. We should talk about this because that was a brand new position for you. You could get like a huge grant to cover the cost of that position. So let's talk about that at some point and give Ali a call afterwards. You can apply for up to 10 positions and more with special permission in advance of hiring. Okay, so you can just, fill your bucket list of positions that you want to fill in the new year and just go for it. So the trick is, and they don't tell you when you apply, you have to fill the positions that have been approved within 90 days of hiring. And that's tricky. So I applied for 8 positions. I probably won't be filling half of those positions until third and fourth quarter. So I may have to submit another grant application. This is a first come, first serve grant program, which means they have a pot of money, and the first companies to fill positions within that 90-day window will get the money. So even if your grant application is approved, it doesn't mean you're going to get the money if a bunch of companies sort of jump in and fill positions before you. So Charlie, this is why I think it's important for you to connect with us ASAP so we can get that grant set up for you, because you could have like $25,000 of that salary covered. So thanks again for Karen for putting these details together. This is intended to cover the wages or training costs for hiring workers in new or vacant positions. You can apply as a private business, incorporated business, sole proprietor, limited company. You need to have a valid corporate access number and must be located and operational in Alberta. So here's the thing. I needed to submit my corporate registry document. I needed to submit my WCB exemption letter. And so there's a bunch of documents that at the end of the application process you have to submit. So just be prepared and have some of those handy. So what else we know about this program? It's intended to offset the salary or training costs equal to about 25% of the new hire salary, so up to $25,000. And if you're hiring a new person that has a disability, you get 37.5% of the new hire salary covered. So if there's an identified disability like a mobility disability, a mental health challenge, a sight or hearing disability, then, and it has to be a bona fide disability. We can't make this stuff up. Then you could get a larger amount. And they're like, I don't know what the application requirements are for a disability hire. So I think you just need to be careful with that, and we'll help navigate that. And then it has to be for a new or vacant position. So you can't have a position that's filled and then terminate somebody and then hire for it necessarily. The position actually has to be vacant for a period of time. And you have to have the intent of hiring a person for a full 52 weeks. The first grant, you can have the grant paid to you in 2 tranches, either one full tranche, one full payment at the end of the 52 weeks, or a payment after 90 days, and then a second payment after the full 52 weeks. My recommendation is go for the full 2 payments, because if the new employee doesn't work out, at least you've received partial subsidy. It can be a full or a part-time position, but there has to be a minimum of 15 hours on average per week. Okay, so Jonathan, brand new team member that's on the call today, will be chasing the grant for his hire as well. So how can we help you use the Alberta job grants now? So I think the most important thing is forecasting your growth and helping you do your recruitment and resource planning. So book a call with us, or 15 minutes, talk about some hiring that you think you're going to do in Q1 or Q2, and we can help you figure out what the grant opportunity is there. We can help actually do the application process. So again, so as long as we have your login credentials, we can get on, take care of all your application process. It's a little bit of back and forth if you don't have the documents handy. So it's almost easier for you to do it, and then we can get on the phone and just walk you through it. We can actually do your recruitment and selection, and many of you know we already have that opportunity to do it. We can also, sorry, that bullet point doesn't belong on this page. That was for the last one. So how we've used the program. So I went ahead and submitted the grant application for 8 positions. And so we're growing this year. We're growing tremendously. These would all be Alberta-based positions, because then it's an Alberta-funded program. So if I'm looking at hiring in Vancouver or in the BC area or out on the East Coast, then I have to look at applying for grants if they're eligible in each of those provinces, and I'll be looking at that. But we applied for 8 positions, and I got an email the other day that says that I was, get this, approved for $177,000 worth of grant. Now, if I fill those positions within the next, sorry, there's just someone trying to get in and I can't quite reach the button to let them in. Hang on a sec. Oh, if I fill those positions within 90 days, then sure, I'm eligible for the $177,000. But if it takes me more time, so if I'm filling in Q3, I'm going to lose that grant eligibility. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to come up with another pot of money, particularly if we have a fifth wave and there's a bunch of people laid off, which would be abhorrent. But there may be another pot of money coming, and then I'm going to resubmit those positions for that next pot of money. So I've got them all there now, and if like we grow like gangbusters between now and the end of March, then yeah, I can fill all those positions and grab that grant, provided there's still money in the pool. Again, this is a first come first serve program, but otherwise, if I don't fill those positions, I lose that granting opportunity. But at least I've got my name in the pot. So for any of you that are thinking of doing hiring in Q1 or Q2, or have done hiring in the last month, you need to contact us right away. Let's get this granting process figured out for you so that you can grab the grant money for that. Any questions? You can take yourself off mute. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Jennifer here. There was one from Rachel Bertrand in the chat. She asks, how long does someone need to be unemployed for to qualify for the grant?
I don't believe, Rachel, that there is any unemployed requirement. And I think that the only business in Norland that would be eligible for this is the Alberta-based business, the drilling bit business. I think that's Scott Bertrand, right? Allie, go ahead and take yourself off mute.
Are not-for-profits eligible?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
Excellent.
They should have an Alberta registry number, but let's double check that, because I know you're thinking about Calgary Girls Choir. So let's research that. And you know what? They might have a special pot of money, so there might be a third grant there, granting opportunity. Jeanette asked, I missed how long the position needs to be vacant for to qualify. There's no specified criteria, Jeanette. So, it says vacant positions, and I said, you shouldn't terminate somebody and then fill the position with somebody that's on a grant. I don't think that would probably be challenged. But I mean, if it's even vacant for like 3 or 4 weeks, then I would say, yeah, go ahead. She quit. Go ahead, apply for the grant. Any more questions? And also use the chat to give us a list of like quick learning that you'd like to see in 2022. Because this is like a 15-minute call, 20-minute call. People can hop on, hop off. We're going to record it. We'll post it. We'll send you a copy of it. We're going to keep doing this. It's kind of fun. Any more questions? Thanks, Jeanette. I like it too. All right, everybody. I think that's it. I just want to say, we will have a recording of this on our YouTube channel eventually. I'll pop it up there. Please share this information as much as possible. Don't keep it to yourself. This is great information. There's money sitting out there. We should be chasing it. We can help you chase it. Charlie, in particular, I'm going to get Allie to give you a call and figure out how we can get that grant for you, because you'd be one of the first ones in the door, and I think we can get you a massive subsidy. All right. All right, everybody, I want to say have a great holiday. If you have any questions, give us a shout, and thank you for joining us.